I'm here with the Group CEO of Air France-KLM, Ben Smith. Good morning.
Hi, Guy.
Nice to see you. So the news overnight is that you have just announced that you're flying back into Riyadh. You're flying back into the Gulf. Is this the first of many steps, or is this the first step you are taking, and then you're going to assess the situation, and then you're going to look at what the rest of the Gulf is going to be looking like? What is the situation in the Gulf for an airline like you?
Yeah, well, today we're very cautious in returning to cities which we've pulled out of. So we've gone back into Riyadh, close cooperation with the French state from a security perspective, with our cabin staff, with our pilots. We have not reopened Dubai as of yet. Tel Aviv, Beirut are still closed. Dammam is still closed for us.
So what would get you back into those routes? What do you need to see in terms of the situation on the ground? What did you see in Riyadh? What do you need to see elsewhere?
Well, I think we need, as I just said, we need to have all of our stakeholders aligned to put us in a comfort position to go. And right now, we're not there on the destinations where we have.
But does it need a peace deal? Does it need a full cessation of hostilities? Does it need what kind of boxes do you need to tick?
Yeah, I mean, peace deal, no peace deal, as long as we're confident that it's not going to have an impact on safety at the particular airport. There doesn't necessarily need to be a peace deal, but we need to have confidence that we're not going to see any danger around those airports.
Okay.
So Riyadh, there never was, and there doesn't seem to be any today. So we know as a precaution, we pulled out when the fighting started, but now we're comfortable to go back in.
Let's talk about the situation when it comes to fuel. I think you updated the market a couple of days ago. You talked about the idea you've definitely got enough fuel for the summer. What happens after the summer? You get the summer, and then what?
So we secured fuel through the end of August. We've got our full capacity in place. We have not pulled any of our capacity. It's a little unfortunate that a lot of customers are still not confident that there'll be enough fuel. So we're seeing a late booking environment. A little, people are booking a little closer than we've seen in the past. As far as the fall goes, or the winter goes, it's a bit too early for us to make the decision on how much capacity we keep in the market.
Okay, just in terms of that messaging you've had to deliver. At the beginning of the war, there was this fear that there wouldn't be enough jet fuel. And the industry came out very quickly and said, we've got enough fuel, the summer's going to be fine. If fuel went up significantly from here, say in July or August, you see a big spike in fuel, are you effectively guaranteeing that all the routes that you're committing to now, you are going to fly? I'm going to get there and I'm going to get home.
Well, first off, if the fuel significantly spikes, we're going to have to raise ticket prices to compensate for that. And when you raise ticket prices, there'll be less demand. So the need for the full capacity that we had planned is probably not going to be the case. So how we balance that out with the availability of fuel, the price of fuel, the willingness for customers to pay, we'll see how that.
So you might consolidate some routes. Is there a plan if fuel went up further you would change maybe some of the current routes, the frequencies, kind of where you fly, maybe the overlap between Air France and KLM changes? Is there a plan in place if fuel goes sharply higher from here to kind of consolidate within the group?
Sure. I mean, our companies are old, our global brands, and we've got a lot of experience in adapting. Last minute, medium term, long term. COVID was probably the most challenging for us to manage capacity and frequencies. So yes, depending on how the availability and price of fuel does evolve over the next few months, we'll adapt. If it means removing frequencies, consolidating frequencies, we'll make do with whatever comes at us.
But that's not a plan you've got ready to go. That's something that you will do effectively kind of on the fly.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're not. I mean, the supply of fuel, price of fuel could be different in different parts of the world. So to guess what's going to happen, it's pretty difficult to do that. But airplanes can move around relatively easy and quickly.
Yep.
We've managed to do that over the last few weeks, where we've taken some capacity other parts of the region in our network and started to use it on routes overflying the Gulf, where there's been a lack of capacity.
Yep.
So to Southeast Asia, as an example, where a big part of the European traffic was going via the Gulf. Now we've been able to offer something that is important.
Okay, let's just talk about that for a minute. How sticky do you think that demand is to go over the Gulf? I.e., do you think people will want to fly through the Gulf after this? Once there is a peace deal, do you think you may retain some of that traffic going out to Asia?
Well, I think it's another example of how dependent Europe is and European customers are on flying over the Gulf to destinations that I think could support more nonstop service. With an unlevel playing field, you've got companies that are based in the Gulf that have been able to attract a big portion of the European demand via the Gulf. So when full capacity comes back in the Gulf, I would expect some, is it 5%, 10% of customers that, in the past would have flown over the Gulf to prefer to fly nonstop. But the Gulf carriers are going to be, our expectation is they're going to want to get their full capacity in place as quickly as possible.
The talk is there's going to be a massive price war once they come back. Tim Clark's going to want his capacity back at Emirates.
For sure.
So you ready for that? What does that look like?
Look, the three Gulf carriers plus Turkish, they're extremely aggressive. That's not new for us.
Yeah.
As I said, without a level playing field, we're not flying nonstop to many of the routes that under a normal scenario where there would be a level playing field that would be able to support. So this is not, it's not going to be a surprise to us.
Okay. Just back to the issue of pricing and demand. Will the consumer take much more? The story post-pandemic has been that I'm going anyway. I don't care what the price is. I'm going to fly at the front of the plane. Demand has been very strong.
Yes.
If prices get pushed much higher from here, does that still apply? Are you confident that the pricing won't affect demand? What are you expecting to happen?
Well, we're pleasantly surprised that demand is holding. Paris is still a very attractive destination. Amsterdam is still a very attractive hub to flow over.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing on the bulk of our network is strong demand, predominantly in the premium cabins. And we're not seeing customers avoid the trip. Sometimes, as I said, they're booking a little closer in, but demand is very strong.
Let's talk about M&A.
Okay.
Let's talk about EasyJet. So EasyJet, for those that know, is a low-cost carrier based in Europe. Castle Lake, we understand, has made an approach. The details of it remain sort of fairly opaque at this point in time. You have some experience in working with them. We've obviously seen what the SAS deal did and how you managed that process. Air France was the first name that came to mind when I heard that they were involved.
Okay.
You came to mind. Any conversations with Castle Lake? Any interest? Are you in any way involved in this process? What's happening?
No, so we're not involved. Is there any interest? It's not something we've given much thought. I mean, EasyJet is it's a very impressive airline. They've had a fantastic, I would say, history in how they've developed. They've got some great positions, in Geneva, London Gatwick, etc. So it's very attractive, and their market cap is low. So it's no surprise to us that there's a party or there's a group that's looking at at buying them or buying a portion of them. Not a surprise to us. Castle Lake is an excellent private equity firm as well. We had and we still have a great experience with them in SAS, as you've just said.
Yep.
So it's not surprising to us, but we're not involved in this transaction.
But your sense would be that the market is undervaluing that business right now, undervaluing the slots in Geneva and places like that, undervaluing the slots that they have for Airbus aircraft in Toulouse. Your sense is that is being undervalued at the moment, hence why we're seeing the interest.
Well, the slot portfolio is quite impressive.
Yeah.
The number of slots they have at Gatwick. I mean, they've got some new slots at Linate that they gained through the remedy slots that Lufthansa had to give up with the purchase of ITA. And even what they have at Orly in Paris is we're a little uncomfortable with the position they have in Orly. So it is impressive.
So if Castle Lake came to you, you're sounding like you would be. You think this could be an interesting opportunity. If they came and wanted to talk to you, you pick up the phone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I would expect all of our competitors to do the same.
Okay, but yeah, I don't think IAG would work very well. But I could see Air France maybe working. Do you expect the call? Do you think they're going to come to you?
I don't know. I mean, I think you have to ask that question to Castle Lake.
Feels like it's a fairly early stage in the process.
I think so. I think so.